Hey guys, Robert Breaker here with you. I just wanted to do a quick video here real quick about something that is quite interesting, to say the least. I'm going to be taking a trip to Israel here very soon, and later today I'm going to be doing a live stream about that. But I gotta do this video. Last time I tried to go to Israel was right about the time of COVID, and when COVID came, we were about to purchase the tickets to go to Israel. When Israel said, nope, if you fly in here, you're going to be in quarantine for 14 days, and then we send you straight back. So COVID kept me from going to Israel back in 2021 or 2022, maybe even 2020. It's been so long ago, I forget. But it was because of COVID, I wasn't able to go to Israel before. Now, I've said some things about COVID, and some of the things I said, well, some people are starting to see, and some people aren't. So maybe we should start there, and maybe I can share that with you. I want to get to this here in a minute, and I'll talk about that. But let's see if I can show you a video file. I'm not that great here at using this here, but I've got a video file here. Maybe if there's a will, there's a way. Okay, this right here, we're just going to watch first. And speaking about the whole COVID thing, here we are 4 years later, and they're starting to see some things and starting to say, well, maybe we kind of overreacted in some of the things we did. So I play this with the Fair Use Act, that this is fair use on the news. I want you to hear this on the news. So here we go.
Another thing that's playing out, well, 4 years since the lockdown. When you think about that, like the way our lives changed, masked up, lockdown, there's a lot of lessons we should learn.
It's 4 years. Was it March 13th when we began the shutdown?
I thought I heard the anniversary was a couple of days ago, so I don't know what the 4 exactly
I
is
thought
right
it was
now.
February when we
Well, that's when everyone began.
freaking out.
Everyone began freaking out, and then it's been 4 years now since California lockdown, stay-at-home orders.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
Well, the Committee to Unleash Prosperity has done a study.
The Committee to Unleash Prosperity did this study about lessons learned from COVID. So let's see that.
And the COVID lessons learned, a retrospective after 4 years. Guys, they're really interesting to read. I'll read the first three, and then we'll hand them off. Here's the first three. Leaders should calm public fears, not stoke them. 2, lockdowns do not work to substantially reduce deaths or stop viral circulation. Lockdowns and social isolation had negative consequences that far outweighed benefits.
4th is that government should not pay people more not to work. That number 5, shutting down schools was a major policy mistake with tragic effects on children, especially the poor. 6th, masks were of little or no value and possibly harmful.
What if number 6 is ready to be admitted to even by government and CDC authorities? It was true from the beginning, and you were called a conspiracy theorist if you said it. 4 years later, it's point number 6 on lessons learned from COVID. Number 7, government should not suppress or dissent or police the boundaries of science. Number 8, the real hospital story was underutilization. Number 9, protect the most vulnerable. And 10, warp speed. Deregulate, but don't mandate. They went on to explain lockdowns in their report. Lockdowns, school closures, and mandates were catastrophic errors pushed with remarkable fervor by public health authorities at all levels. It should be definitively stated that CDC guidance is strictly advisory, and CDC does not have power to set laws or mandates. The U.S. should halt all binding agreements with the World Health Organization until satisfactory transparency and accountability is achieved, unless and until key institutions openly acknowledge that lockdowns, school closures, and masks, vaccines, mandates were catastrophic errors that should not be repeated in the future. The American people will and should withhold their trust. They're absolutely right, by the way, the World Health Organization guidance flowed to CDC guidance, which masked itself under the cover of advisories, not laws, to which laws followed and schools closed and businesses were forced to shut.
And I think that this is so important because coming up in June, there's something happening with our government where they're trying to transfer authority over to the World Health Organization. So should there be another pandemic, it would be centralized by the world.
So that's enough of that. You can watch that if you want, but I find it fascinating. On the news now, 4 years later, here's what we learned. Maybe things didn't quite go the way they should have. Maybe there were some harmful effects from the way they reacted to that. One of the things they called it was a mandate. And if you look at the dictionary, I mean, this is Black's Law Dictionary, 11th edition. And basically, it says right here that a mandate is not something that's binding unless both parties agree. And that's why whenever they were saying, the mandate is this, the mandate is that, I'd say, well, I don't agree with that mandate. So it's therefore, by law, null and void, because a mandate by law is when both parties agree. So I would always say, I don't agree. I'm not going to wear your little this or that. They try to force you to wear something. I said, the last time that someone did that was Hitler trying to force Jews to wear a yellow star. And that didn't turn out well for them. So I don't want people to tell me what I can and can't wear. So anyway, I was looked at as crazy, as weird, as, strange, but now it's starting to come out. Well, I say all that to say this, okay? Thank God that's all behind us. All right, let's not worry about that anymore. But let's be a little cautious with the who. In the Bible, it talks about who in the book of Revelation. Anyway, I won't go there. But long story short, are we over COVID? Well, there's still people that get sick with it. There's still people that, have to perhaps go to the hospital with the lung problems and things like that. So it's still something that we're dealing with. Now, when COVID came out, this is what I want to get to. This is something so strange. Someone sent me this in my emails. When COVID came out, there were a lot of people saying, wow, COVID backwards is Divoc. And Divoc is the Hebrew word for possession, like demonic possession. Now, that's been debunked, and you can check the fact checkers. So I'm going to explain it to you the right way, not the way that people say it that has been debunked. But it is interesting. If you know anything about the devil is the god of this world, little g, and he runs things. And the devil has his hierarchy, and the devil is in charge of this world, and he has his people under him. And those people under the devil that follow him are Luciferians, are Satanists. And Satanists always turn words backwards. In the world of music, there's what's called backmasking. And a lot of people in the music world, they sell their soul to the devil. And you play their music backwards, and there is backmasking, which is very, very strange. So I wanted to say all that to say it wasn't really much of a stretch, was it, for people to say, hey, I wonder if this is some sort of satanic agenda. Hey, what is COVID backwards? So they went to COVID backwards, and they said, well, COVID backwards is Divoc. Or is it? All right, let me present this to you, show you something, and I always want to get it right, okay? There's always people that run out and say, we're going to fact check this or fact check that. And there's nothing wrong with fact checking, okay? Nothing at all. So let's make sure we look at both sides. What does Divoc mean in Hebrew? Well, the term Divoc means the possession of the pernicious soul. It is a compound word in all of this. And so many people were out there saying that Divoc, which is COVID backwards, means demonic possession. All right, let me stop sharing that. And let me show you the truth, because some people say, no, that's not true. That's not true. Okay, well, I want to get to the truth always, okay? So I want to make sure that we get this thing right. So you go to your computer and you type in, let's see if I can get it for you pulled up here. You type in the Hebrew word, or you type in English Divoc, and that comes out like this in the Hebrew. So there's the Hebrew word. And it doesn't really say Divoc, although there is the bait. And, in Spanish, a B and a V have the same sound in Spain. So is it really a stretch? I mean, here's what it says down here below. Fact check. Does COVID backwards have evil spirit meaning in it? Well, Divoc is a Hebrew word meaning possession, but the word dibuk, also spelled dibuk or dibuk, Divoc, if you change the B to a V, which is what you can do in Hebrew and other languages. So it might not be the exact same letters, but it has the same sound phonetically. as the word that means possession. So I just want to make sure we get that fact put out there. So the fact is, if you say COVID backwards, Divoc, that sounds similar to the Hebrew word that means possession of a soul or demonic possession. Okay? Are you with me? All right, I want to make sure we get this right now. Well, why am I sharing all this and why am I talking about this? Someone sent me this email that is a little strange, perhaps is the best way to say it, and might just be a little revealing. This is from divoc.digit.org. And this is what appears to be some plan of who, I don't know. Could this be part of the agenda? Could this be Bill Gates behind it? I don't know. But when the whole COVID thing came out, they wanted people to get the jab. And then they wanted to have a certificate of vaccination. And there was a lot of talk of people saying, hey, we need to have like a mark identified whether or not you have been vaccinated or not. And that was called a quantum digital tattoo. And the quantum digital tattoo was to be put here on your right hand. That sounds like the mark of the beast in the Bible, on your right hand or in your forehead. And it was made out of luciferase ink, which is synthetic version of luciferin ink, which comes from a firefly, which, we Christians, we go, wow, well, Beelzebub means the Lord of the Flies. Why are they taking ink from a fly and trying to synthesize that to make it into something to put on your arm, or on your hand? Well, now the talk is we still want a digital verifiable certificate that we want to give to the entire population post-vaccination. So part of their plan is wanting to get the entire world vaccinated. They're still on that kick, that agenda, and still wanting to get people to have a digital quantum tattoo. And they are calling it the Divoc verifiable certificate. So why are they using Divoc as that word? It's COVID backwards. Who runs around changing words backwards and pronouncing backwards and reading backwards instead of forwards? Satanists. So could it be any more blatantly in your face that they're trying to tell you that we still want to do this thing? And so it says countries can use the Divoc certificate module to issue digital verifiable certificates to the entire population. This module is responsible for issuing a QR code based digital certificate for any registered health event. It can be adapted to other areas too, where there is a requirement for secure and tamper-proof documents such as educational. Now, you heard the lady on the news saying that they want to turn over power to the WHO so that the WHO can run all this. So are they going to put people through all this again to try to get people to take this tattoo, to take this quantum digital thing, which they are now calling Divoc? The certificates can be used in both digital and physical forms, which includes print, PDF, and other formats. So here you have a centralized generalization of certificates, which is given by a QR code, which most likely will be the quantum digital tattoo, and distribution through, and people can prove whether they have had what they've been given in their body, and they will have that proof with them, and it's called the Divoc certificate. Now, folks, I can't, how do you make this up? First, they give us COVID. Now they want to give us Divoc, which is COVID backwards. And when you say Divoc to the hearer who speaks Hebrew, that makes them think of demonic possession, or at least a word very similar in the pronunciation. So what on earth is this? Well, generates a WHO DDCC, digital documentation of COVID-19 certificate. And it's just help you to travel to other countries. And by the way, I'm going to Israel. You don't have to have this now. So I'm not having to do any of this stuff in order to travel to Israel, thank God. But what is this? Why are they calling it a Divoc certificate? Who is behind this? What is this all about? I would ask you to look this up more. And I'll copy up here on the top of my thing here. Let's see, maybe I can share the screen here. Share screen with you. Yeah, let's do that. There you go. Now at the top there, you should be able to read this actual link, but I'll leave that link in the description. And I'll let you look into this more. But as a Christian, the Bible tells me to watch out for the devil and resist the devil and flee from him. And, you know, we're not ignorant of his devices, the Bible says. And I look at all this, and why are they using the word COVID backwards? And who pronounces words backwards all the time except Satanists? So who is in charge? Who is doing all this? Could they literally be Satanists doing all this? So here it all is. Someone sent me this via email. There could be something to this. Maybe this is all a joke. Okay, let's just fact check it and see. I just want you to look it up more for yourself. Every time I do a video like this, you leave so much more good information in the comments. And I was going to try to present here a verse and a Bible verse here real quick. And I just want you all to understand that salvation is through faith. Faith in what Jesus did for us. And you need to understand that the Bible says that the Antichrist is going to come into the world and is going to take over. And he is going to give the people a mark. And so I want you all to see that. And let me see if I can show you the Bible verse here real quick. There we go. And it says here in Revelation about the beast. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And I've talked about it before. They want a quantum digital tattoo, and they want to put it here in your right hand. That no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666. So when I see people coming along and they're using COVID, and now they're taking COVID and turning the word backwards and calling it Divoc, and it's all about getting you some sort of a quantum digital, some sort of, they call it QD, or some sort of digital certificate. It makes me wonder, is this all connecting to the quantum digital tattoo that they want? And they want to tattoo it into people's right hand. If Jesus doesn't come soon, where's this leading? A lot of people have said, man, we think this whole COVID thing was all part of a plan to bring in the Antichrist system and the mark of the beast. And do you see why now? More than ever, people think this? Because they just use the word COVID and they just turn it around. And they keep pushing the same thing. We think everybody ought to have a certificate of vaccination, and it ought to be in a digital form. And they're just saying the same thing over and over. So if the WHO takes power over certain countries and takes a sovereignty, what's to keep them from doing this whole thing all over again? And making you take something else all over again, and saying you can't buy or sell or travel, and you've got to lock yourself in your house, or you can't do business unless you get our Divoc certificate. Oh boy, I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what else to say. You can't make this stuff up. But the Bible does tell us, it says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. So that's what I'm going to do. And the Bible tells us also in 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So here I am studying, and I just saw the whole Divoc certificate thing, and I just had to share that with you. And I just had to go, what? What on earth? What on earth is this whole Divoc certificate? So I'll close it there. I'll put it up here one more time so you can see it. And then just ask you, what do you think? What do you think? COVID and then Divoc? And up here is where you can go to look this up for yourself. Again, this could be nothing. This could be some made up site, and it's just all, or this could have been the agenda from the beginning. And all way back in 2019, and even before that at the TED Talks and other things like that, there has been a plan by Luciferians or Satanists to do everything in their power to bring in a one world system in which all people take a mark. And are we seeing that come to pass? What do you think? What do you think about this right here? Can't wait to hear from you and see what you think. Look up Divoc's verifiable certificate and see what you think. All right, I'll leave you there. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.